Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim, the Humble Hermit from Come As You Are Oracle. I'm going to do a collective oracle and affirmations for today. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. You may follow me on the Talk the Tube, my blog, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates. It all might resonate. It's affirmations. Sorry, I feel like I got to sneeze. It's probably cat hair or something. And I wanted to say Friday, and then I wanted to say Sunday, and then I wanted to go back to Friday, and I'm like, those are not the days. Today is Monday. We've got Earth and Bone Oracle by Syrian Shadow. I'm sorry if my eye is like twitching. I got something in there. Of course, as soon as I want to turn on the camera, something goes wrong, because that's just how that is. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's nice and quiet and peaceful. We got 2 on the table. We got 3 on the table. This one was in reverse. All right, 2 more shuffles. 2 more shuffles. Last shuffle. 4 on the table. Well, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this one. All right, we got 5 with bottom of the deck. We have 1 card in reverse. We've got heart, emotional awakening, intuition, following your heart. Crossed, choices, searching for purpose, daydreaming. We've got adversary in the reverse. It says hard work, diligence, progress. We've got the key, inner calling, clarity, and intention. When this card fell out and I saw the inner calling, I thought it said inner calm. We're going to talk about that. And then bottom of the deck, we've got burrow, exhaustion, questioning, motivations, a realignment. I'm just going to say it, feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. Doesn't matter. So I'm getting a couple things here. Somebody could be kind of like, sorry, let me readjust my, I don't know why I didn't put it in my little bra strap. You usually do. When I just stick it to my shirt, it waves around out there. Someone is a little heartsick. Someone is realizing that they're feeling crossed. They're feeling betrayed by some type of adversary. Somebody maybe that they thought was a friend, a family member, a lover. They're feeling betrayed. They're feeling like double crossed by somebody. Someone's a little heartsick over this. And it's funny because when the key fell out and it says inner calling, and I heard I heard, saw inner calm. Like somebody's trying to keep their calm. Somebody's trying to just try and remain like even keel, peaceful, almost to the point where they don't want people to know that somebody betrayed them. Kind of like, I'm just going to pretend like everything's fine and I'm going to go about my business, even though inside, like, my heart is breaking. And I feel like whoever this is someone that goes within. This is someone that isn't really deterred from everyday life. Okay. Like this kind of thing, when it happens, they're like, okay, well, I have to keep moving. I can't stop. But on the inside, right? Like mentally, emotionally, it cripples them. Not for like a long period of time, just, it brings about a sadness. Like, I can't believe this is happening again. I can't believe that yet again somebody betrayed me, somebody backstabbed me, somebody just, left me behind, disregarded me, something like that. And I will always say this, it's always okay to grieve. If you lost a friend, a lover, a family member, whether you lost them to death or you lost them to them walking away or you having to walk away, it is always okay to grieve that, always. My thing, as this card suggests, is while you're grieving, continue to move. Even if it's baby steps, even if it's just recognizing the fact, like, okay, I do have to get out of bed. Okay, I do have to take a shower and get dressed. Okay, I do have to go to work today. That's movement. And as the days go on, it's going to get easier and easier for you to move and move and move and do other things. Because if you sit there in that energy, you're going to become depressed. You're going to become out of sorts. And I would never, ever, ever let somebody with an impure heart do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't let somebody stall you on your road in life. It's one thing to look back on things and try to dissect things and try to reason things and try to come up with an explanation. And like I'm very much one of those people, like I always wonder why, like I never seem to get answers, but I don't get answers from the actual people, but I always wonder why, like why did so and so leave me? Why did so and so say this? Why didn't they do this? Like I always wonder why. I never get answers from the people. Like people literally just don't give a shit. Okay, well, I'll go get my answers from God. I'll go within and I'll meditate and I'll become a bigger, better version of myself. And you can sit in the same place where you left yourself, which is apparently, a horrible human being. Somebody looks at a person with this adversary in the reverse, hard work, diligence, progress. Somebody doesn't really see like how much this person puts into themselves, and it's almost like somebody from the outside looking at them and being like, how come they get everything? How come like everything seems so easy? And I've been the person on the outside, right? Like I've looked at people and been like, how come they get that? The thing is you have to realize, like, typically things don't come easy to people. Typically people have to work for what they have. And even if, let's say, somebody does get something handed to them, how do you know that that was not deserved? How do you know that that person didn't accomplish some life goal, and God was like, hey, here you go. Here's your gift, you know? It's not for anybody else to judge it, right? Or question that. But we do all the time. Like even I do, right? Like I'm human. Like I question things. I wonder, like I said, I wonder why. And the funny thing is, right, is I literally just used that example and I said, oh, well, just keep moving and leave that horrible person where they were, right? The thing is that really a horrible person? Like you feel like it, right? Like they betrayed you, they treated you like crap, they disregarded you, whatever the case. But are they really a horrible person? Or did they just make a snap judgment, a snap decision with what knowledge they had, and that's how they went about that situation? And who's to say that they don't have regret? Who's to say that they're not upset? Who's to say that they're not having issues, right? Again, looking from the outside in. You don't always see everything, right? That's why at the end of the day, like, even when, like, let's say I get into an argument with a friend and we're no longer friends. Yeah, at first I want to be, oh, like, they're such a bitch and this, that, and the other, and da, 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 da. But usually, pardon me, my electrolyte drink is giving me the burpees. Usually within a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, depends. I think it depends on the situation, honestly. But usually within a certain amount of time, I've come to the conclusion, like, and it takes a minute to remember it, right? Because, again, you question things, you wonder why. You look at things from the outside because that's your perspective. You come to the conclusion that everybody's on their own journey, everybody's on their own path. And just because somebody's supposedly done me wrong doesn't mean that they weren't done wrong. Doesn't mean that they didn't do something to me and then turn around and be like, oh shit, why did I do that? And typically, when people are in the wrong, okay, typically they don't take accountability. They don't acknowledge it. They just move along. Even if they know, like, oh shit, like I did, like I hurt so and so's feeling. But they're not going to say anything. Typically, they're just going to try and figure it out for themselves and then figure, oh, well, they'll take care of themselves. They seem like they got a good head on their shoulders. They'll be fine. And they go about their lives and they don't say anything, you know? That's why when you're in relationships, right? Like you don't always get closure when you break up. Somebody just stops coming around. Somebody just stops calling. Somebody ghosts you. And you're like, well, what the hell? And you don't get any closure. That's because that person just figures, they'll figure it out. Like we're just not compatible. I'm not seeing us together, for a lifetime. So I'm just gonna move along. I'm gonna block them on my phone. I'm gonna pretend like they don't exist. They'll figure it out. I've been that person. I've done that. Hell, if I felt the situation warranted it, I probably would still do that. Does that feel great to the other person? No, probably not. Right? Probably not. No. There are people out there that don't take accountability for their actions. There are people out there that continually disregard others. And there's a difference there. Like, are you learning from life situations and using that as you go forward? Or are you just constantly running through connections, situations, people, relationships, friends, and never learning anything and never taking accountability for anything and never questioning, wondering, you know? And I'm sorry for whoever this is because if you were betrayed by a friend, if you were double crossed by a friend, I get it. I get it, and I can use an example. I can say the young woman that I was friends with at work that I thought was dating the guy that I was interested in. I am sure she feels like I screwed her over And she would be completely justified in that feeling, right? Which is why I didn't push for her and I to go back to being friends. That's why I let her, go along her path to figure out her journey, her healing, all that. I take accountability for the fact that I hurt her, right, in that situation. I can look at it from the other's perspective and say, okay, like she's had 6 months to think through, what happened and all that. Like, how come she doesn't come back and say something? How come she doesn't at least come back and say, hey, I think what you did was shitty. I don't want to be friends with you. This, that, and the other. It would be very simple to have that type of communication. Am I saying that she's a horrible person because she didn't do that? No, no. She could have done that. It would have been nice. It would have been appreciated. But at the same time, like, I already know that I hurt her in a specific way. I took accountability for that. I don't blame her for not taking accountability for what she did to me, if that kind of makes sense. Like, I don't hold that against her. I don't know how to say that, but I think you'll get it. You'll get it. And her and I don't talk, and I said this before, like, her and I don't talk. I think there's a lot of anger and bitterness on her side of things, because I can just feel it in the air, like whenever she's around. Um, but there's not on my side. Like, yes, I still question the situation. I have, questions as to why what happened and why she continues to behave the way that she does, and why to me it seems like she's not learning or healing, but that might not be the case, right? Because I'm just looking at it from the outside. um we aren't friends, so not, like, I don't hold any grudge, because, like, I'm healing from the situation, right? Um, Plus, I also feel like a lot of it is my own fault, again, which I take accountability for. So I don't hold a grudge against her. Like, and I've said to her more than once, like, I love you, I want the best for you. And that still holds true. I think it's just, I've gotten to the point in my part of healing from the situation where, again, I still wish nothing but the best for her. But now I'm at the point where I just don't want to have anything to do with that. Like I walked away, I turned around and looked at it, dissected it many times, healing from it, right? Healing from her, healing from him, and the other friend too that was in there. Um, and now I'm, like, I'm done. I want to move forward. I don't want to continue to look back. And I don't really want any of them in my life. We're coworkers. I have to see them at work, but like, I won't go back to being friends with them. Period. Period. Because again, like, looking from the outside, I can only know, like, what I took accountability for, how I'm healing, but I don't see that in them. And if I don't see that in them, from what I can see, then I need to walk away from the situation. But I don't hold anything against her. If anything, I still feel like she got the raw end of the deal. Even if she didn't, let's turn it around and say, like, she's evil and she got between me and a guy I was interested in. I still don't know that for sure. I don't feel like that's the case. So I can only hold space in my heart for her to be good and do good. Does that make sense? Like, you get to a certain point on your healing journey where even, and I've said this before too, like, even people that have sexually assaulted me and raped me, I don't have that heart space for them. Like, I don't hold that grudge against them. Like, I'm on that part of my healing journey where it's like, I recognize that you did what you did to me and it was absolutely horrible, horrifying, right? But I can't hold on to that for the rest of my life. Like, I need to let that go. I need to release that so that I can move on in peace and harmony, you know? And sometimes it takes a while for people to get there. So, and again, some people that aren't healing, they don't ever get there. They don't ever get there. And I know people like that. All right, I'm gonna leave it there because I rambled on for 20 minutes about this. So everybody have a fabulous Monday. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, if anything, you were entertained. And I'll talk to you later.